just wait. Yeah, maybe when I finish talking to the people here. How's that? I might. I'll have to ponder it, but I will put it on my list for due consideration.
Hillary Clinton deciding that maybe she will talk to the press after all, and as we all know by now, she did, at long last. So joining us now, Michael Barone, senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner and the author of a new book, Shaping Our Nation, How Surges of Migration Transformed America and Its Politics. Michael, welcome as always.
Hey, good to be with you again.
So, Michael, you wrote an article that got my attention in the Examiner this week, discussing or asking the question, I should say, can Hillary Clinton reverse what you view as a trend of let's call it disappearing Democrats over the past 6 years? Kind of fill us in on what you have in mind there, because I think most people think that we're seeing an increase in Democratic voters as there's demographic shifts.
Yeah, there's been a lot of writing, most notably by Ron Brownstein of National Journal, about how the Democrats have assembled a coalition of the ascendant, of non-whites, of millennial generation voters, how this is the wave of the future, and that this supposed surge of people into the electorate is going to make the country endlessly democratic. Brownstein and others are pointing to some real trends, but they're also missing part of the story. And one of the parts of that story is that turnout has not surged. Voter turnout generally has declined rather than surged in the Obama years. And Democratic voter turnout has declined and sagged during the Obama years. In contrast, by the way, to the George W. Bush presidency, which was a time of vast, really historic increases in voter turnout. And you just have to take a look at the numbers to see that this is so. In 2012, Barack Obama won a second term, but he got 3.5 million fewer votes.
Did those votes go somewhere else, Michael, or was it a net 3.5 less voters?
3.5 million fewer voters voted for Barack Obama. That's a simple fact. Now, Mitt Romney got about 1 million voters more than John McCain. That wasn't enough for him to win or to keep President Obama from getting a substantial majority in the Electoral College. But it was a decline in turnout. If you look at the congressional elections, 2006, the Democrats won something like 44 million votes for House of Representatives, Democratic candidates. That was a year of discontent with George W. Bush and high turnout. They went down to 39 million in 2010 when Republicans won control of the House of Representatives. They declined further to 35.6 million in 2014. Whatever else Barack Obama is doing, as president, he has not drawn larger numbers of Democrats to the polls and voting.
Does it strike you as fair to use, let's call off-election years, non-presidential election years, in reaching those conclusions? Because we know that voters tend not to come out in the same numbers. It does strike me as fair to compare 2008 and 2012, but should we really be mixing in the other elections?
Well, I think the answer is that off years are elections too. If you compare presidential year with presidential year, as I did, and if you compare off years with off years, as I did, you see in both dimensions a decline in Democratic turnout. That's a simple fact. We are not seeing a vast surge of new voters for the Democratic Party. We're seeing declining numbers taking the trouble to vote for the Democratic Party.
So taking your numbers as being correct, and I think you did a pretty good job of backing it up, isn't there one feature that may exist in this next election that would override all of that? America's biggest, the granddaddy of voting groups are women. And can't we expect more women to show up and vote now that they'll have an opportunity, we think, to vote for a female candidate for president?
Well, we don't know exactly how much enthusiasm Hillary Clinton is going to arouse in women voters as opposed to men voters. We know that a majority of voters in previous elections were women. We know that women vote somewhat more Democratic than men, but if you look at married women, they voted for Mitt Romney. It was single women that delivered a large percentage for Barack Obama and Democratic candidates. It's possible that Hillary Clinton will increase turnout among women. I think some of the controversies that we're seeing now have the potential to sap enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton.
Do you really?
Yeah, you hear some Democratic voters say, well, you know, she may have cheated on this or misled people on that or lied about that. But gosh, I don't like Republican policies, so I'm going to come out proudly and vote for her. That's not the kind of enthusiasm that we saw for Barack Obama in 2008.
That's
when
true.
turnout did grow up. It's not really the kind of enthusiasm we saw for George W. Bush in 2004 and for Democrats running against George W. Bush in 2004. Those were big increases in turnout. We haven't seen anything like that since. And when you look at the other groups of what's called the coalition of the ascendant, you have to wonder whether or not Hillary Clinton is going to even match Barack Obama's turnout. Black voters were 13% of the electorate in 2008 and 2012, according to the exit poll, over 90% for Barack Obama. I think it's unlikely that Hillary Clinton or any other Democratic candidate in the future is going to exceed 90%, and that black voters will come out in those proportions as a percentage of the electorate.
Michael, as always, thanks so much for coming by. I hope you have a terrific holiday weekend. We appreciate you making time for us today, man.
Okie doke, thank you.
Okay, coming up next, it is time for the Malzberg panel with two of my favorites. We've got Carol Roth joining us and Heather Hansen, a regular on our daily rap show. Not going to want to miss it. Malzberg panel, stay where you are. We are coming right back after this.